Hey, welcome back to the Tango Banter. Today, I am lucky to sit down with filmmaker, tango dancer, and actor Oliver Kolker to talk about his latest film, Tuve el Corazón. I Had a Heart. If you are a tango dancer who loves movies that actually truly get tango, not just as a dance, but as a whole cultural world, this episode is really for you. You might actually know Oliver from his earlier film, Fermín, a beautifully layered story about tango and memory and music. Now, this film, Tuve el Corazón, takes us into a different time when tango was actually nearly forgotten. Back in the 1970s, it was overshadowed by the rise of rock and roll. And we talk about why that happened. Along the way, Oliver drops a lot of names of musicians, filmmakers, actors. So if you want to learn more about the people he is talking about, I've listed them in the show notes, so you can check those out. And most importantly, if you are in LA this April, you have a chance to see Tuve el Corazón on the big screen at the Argentine Association on April 11th and 12th. There will be a Q&A with Oliver. He's also going to be teaching workshops. So all the information is in the show notes. Check it out. And now let's dive in. Here is Oliver Kolker. So good to have you back.
Thank you. Same here.
To talk about your new film. I watched this film, and of course, I decided to see your previous film, Fermín, as a sort of giving me some context. And I'm excited to learn more about what was your inspiration after Fermín to make this film, because they're kind of dealing with similar themes, but in very different time frames.
First of all, for watching both movies, I think you watched Fermín twice, right? You saw it the first time?
I actually think I've seen it 3 times.
Oh.
Each time I watch it, I feel like I, as a tango dancer, am in a different place, so I'm able to appreciate deep layers of it, you know?
After I did Fermín with my business partner, Hernan, he also co-directed this movie with me, Tuve el Corazón. I started doing movies, produced other movies. I already produced 8 movies since Fermín. But when I write as an author, that's my goal to write. I write good stories, but I'm not a script writer per se, you know, that I wake up, I drink my cup of coffee and I start writing, whatever. No, I don't. I'm always in my head. And also I write stories for me. So it's more like telling a story is a catharsis state. You're vomiting everything that is happening inside of you within a context and within a story. That's the way it works for me. That's why I use also the universal theme, like his relationship father and son, for obvious reasons. I mean, I love my father, but I had my issues, you know. So after I did Fermín, I produced other movies, and then I came to Los Angeles in 2016. I had a very difficult year with a movie there, so I said, I have to clear my mind. So I went to film school, New York Film Academy in Los Angeles for a 2 months certificate. And the goal was to write a script in 2 months. Of course, from the first day, I knew I wasn't going to pass that test. I knew it. But it's a private course. Like if I don't do it, it's not the end of the world. I'm paying for it. So it's my fault or my loss. But anyhow, it helped me to clarify many things. And I had to come up with a premise, at least to start writing a script. If I ended up writing 5 pages, it's fine. I ended writing most of the script, but like blah, 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 you know? And I came up with the idea about this tango singer that had this stutterness, and I have to make him sing, even the fact that he's having this disability or whatever it is. What can we do? And I wanted to tell it from a rock and roll producer, because why am I saying this is a catharsis? Because when I was 9 years old, first of all, I come from a family that my father's a doctor, my mom was a lawyer. I was very much involved with music since I was a kid. I heard my first tango when I was 8 years old, and I grew up from my mother's family, always watching tango. My grandmother watched tango. She sang tango. I have pictures of my grandparents dancing tango, but not dancing tango like they go to the milonga. Dancing tango because it's part of their life. It's something like, it's the music they grew up with in 1940s, like the mecca of tango, the time. And then I started learning guitar when I was 9. And I composed my first song when I was 9, and I performed it in front of the school. I still have the song. And, yeah, with my guitar player. So I was very much involved in rock and roll since I was a kid. But I was a terrible player, very bad with instruments, but also I was very alone in terms of artistic expression. My parents didn't see that aspect of me, which is a lot of catharsis.
Therefore, the catharsis. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. And then I said, I can write it because my premise also was, I'm a true believer in this, that the tango is the father and mother and creator of everything that came afterwards in Argentina. As a root, our biggest rock and roll idols that are still alive, that they're in their 70s or late 60s, Fito Páez, Charly Garcia, Spinetta, blah, blah, blah. I grew up listening to that when I was 9, 10, very early rock and roll songs and stuff. But tango was their root. Tango is the root of rock and roll in Argentina. And my premise is actually that when many songs, rock and roll songs that they were created maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, they became big hits. I say that these songs are already, they are a tango, like they're a rock and roll. The genre is a rock and roll, but as a feeling is that they transcended and they become like an ancient wine, like a tango. It's un tango.
Yeah.
It's a tango.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah, it occupies the same place in your heart. Almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the people. So then I wrote the script and I started writing it in 2016. And I'm, as I said, in the middle, I produce other movies, but I'm a very slow writer. And I wrote it and I kept writing and I kept writing. And then I went through a script doctor with Martin. Do you know Martin Barrio? You know El Peque? Peque Barrio? Well, his brother also is a very good DJ, tango dancer, not professional, but also he reads and knows a lot about script writing. And and so I hired him and he helped me redevelop the script. He kicked my ass. He kicked my ass, literally. Yes. And he has no mercy on that, which is great. Oliver, esto es una mierda. This is bad. No, bad idea. This is good. Go. It's like that. You need that. You need that as a script writer to move from your ego, your characters, and saying you're not saying it well. You need to understand. So, and then the inspiration was this. I wanted to prove, basically, the message of the movie is saying like a father and son, rock and roll is the son of tango in the movie. And I wanted to write it from a perspective, from a rock and roll producer who has to deal with tango, has to deal with rock, his roots, what happened in the past. And of course, the way I write also is I always like to explore and write about the Jewish world, just because it's the other side of my family. I always say this. I mean, when my parents got married, my mom grew up as a Catholic family and she converted to Judaism. So I grew up as a Jew, but I have both bloods or both smells. So my tango comes from my mother's side, the look, the blue jeans, the shirt, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very tango way of dressing. When I was a kid, I saw my uncle. But on my father's side, it's all this Jewishness and cry and sensibility and shit that it's all mixed together in me. And that's why I try to do movies about tango, and bring it as much as I can, as an artistic expression,
Yeah. I feel like I know you better
thank
after
you.
seeing this film. And
Well, that's great. You have
just
to do
knowing,
that.
yeah, knowing you over the years and seeing I guess, the common thread between Fermin and this, because there was Jewish overtones in that film as well, and the connection between tango and reflection of life, I think, was
Exactly.
very, very obvious to me. And not having a lot of relationship to Argentine culture besides tango, it caught my attention right away, this tension that you're setting up between rock and tango, which, as an outsider, I definitely feel like those are very two separate worlds, but
Exactly.
you're
Yeah,
sort
but
of blending them together. And I'm
exactly.
curious, like the historical context of that time period. I think as an outsider, I just don't really have the depth of understanding of what really was happening at that time. Do you have any things that you think really are important for us to know about that time period in general?
I was born in 1971 in New York, but I came to Argentina in 1975. I grew up from 1975 until 1995. Not paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
But tango was there all the time. But tango wasn't, there were between 1960 and 1980, there was maybe one milonga, if there was one, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was dead. And a lot of and they met so many things like in Sadaic, which is the Argentine Music Publishing Association, that take care of the rights, where all the records are there. Some of them they burned the tango things because they said this is not important. Like a lot of treasure was burnt there. And also, there was a big conflict between rock and roll and tango, because when Elvis came out, the world changed. The world exploded. And I listen, I love to dance rock and roll. I love to dance rock and roll. And also, if you think about it, you have tango, this marcato, tran, 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 and when this guy Elvis came, ba, 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 da, I think the people that, what is that? Like, it's a different vibe. I think it went the same thing with jazz. It ended up being such a rich genre. I always say this also, that tango is so rich because it developed itself in 5 different categories, which is the music, the singing, the dancing, the instruments. 4. I'm sorry. And I always say music, dancing, singing, and poetry. It's their arts on their own, like a musician, like a dancer, like a singer, like a poet. It's an art form. You don't have like rock and roll. Yeah, you have Lindy Hop, but those who listen to AC/DC or whatever, they have this thing, blah blah blah. But there's not like a dance. Like tango has its own dance.
So are you saying that rock and roll in Argentina, actually there's a dance that goes with rock and roll?
Yes, but it's not as developed as tango.
Got it.
Like tango, it's own, it's an own thing. And this fight went for many years because it's like the kids in the 70s and the 60s, they were doing a revolution against their parents, and the parents represented tango. It's like, what is that shit, But also you see that through American films, with Martin Luther King, he condemned rock and roll because of fear or whatever. I'm saying that leader as another leader, it's all just generational things. And you don't have this anymore. Now you can have like that I wrote about in the movie about rap song and trap with the kid. Right. It's also a different generation, and this guy Moti is not as hard as his father was with him. This is also wanted to write about. His father was very hard with him, but he's not hard with his own son. Like, he understands it. It's a little bit difficult for him, but he's not a punisher or whatever his father was with Moti.
So the scene where there's that record, that Tanturi record, that's
my favorite orchestra, by the way.
I was gonna ask what the symbolic nature of Tanturi's record in particular was for you.
Well, because the song, first of all, Tanturi Campos, I think, is the best orchestra that exists, without diminishing because because it's the it represents the smell and the atmosphere that a good tango sounds like. It's like the music and the voice of Campos is so. It's like, well, you're a tango dancer. Those tango dancers out there that have been in the field for many years. Those who don't know anything about tango might say, yeah, Gardel. They will say, yeah, Troilo. They want to. But those, it's like knowing about wine. You know, I don't know anything about wine, but I can tell you, yeah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, and the guy or a woman who knows real about wine will say, wait. Try this one. But nobody knows about it. Try this one.
Yeah.
Tanturi Campos is that. It's for those who are really deep in the mud, in their souls, like your tango is your present in your life. Of course, you respect the great four ones. But for me, Tanturi Campos is like, I have an anecdote, very simple. You know Miguel Soto, right?
Yes.
Miguel. Idol. It's one of my big idols, Miguel Soto, for many things he represents. And Mariano Romero is a DJ from Buenos Aires, very nice guy, great DJ. And he was like 9 years ago in the Moran, which is a milonga that he does. He was playing the music, and Miguel Soto was sitting there. And I go there to dance. I came there like at 2 a.m. And Mariano was all worried, and he said, what's going on? He said, no, Miguel, he's not dancing. I play everything, he's not dancing. I said, you want Miguel to dance? He said, yes, of course. Play Tanturi Campos. Did you play Tanturi Campos already? He said, no, not yet. Play Tanturi Campos. So he said, play Tanturi Campos. And he played Tanturi Campos, and Miguel immediately, he grabbed his wife, and he did, let's go, vamos a bailar. Entonces, and he dances Tanturi Campos, of course.
That's the ticket.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so, and I used La Bandoneóns No Sabía, well, of course, because that was his father's karma, like that. He abandoned his wife, and he didn't know that she still loved her, and he was represented by that. And he loved the Tanturi Campos Orchestra, and also this, when I made it like that, it's scratched. That's also like a resemblance that I'm putting the seed to receive in the present a guy who stutters and sings, and he's discovered like that.
I like that connection too, but to me, when I was watching that, it spoke of the interruption of tango in general in the historical context too, right?
Yeah.
Because you're really diving into this battle that's happening generationally between you and your father, represented through rock and roll meeting tango, and it's like looking for a synthesis of the two, which in my mind as a tango dancer, I was like, no, can't be. But it was such an interesting limb to go out on with you through the film, to be like, what if the two can come together?
Actually, I tried to put it in context. Still, this battle was in the 90s, but it was it was bigger, that battle, in the 70s. You understand? Tango was, in the 90s, it was starting very slow, but it started everything in 1995 when La Viruta opened the first time and blah, blah, blah. But
I mean, the whole premise of that that there is a show that's looking for a tango singer was this feeling of like, okay, so tango died out, but now it's kind of coming back. And so the idea of this man who stutters and then and is also this tango singer, is that something that you've been carrying around for a long time? How did that idea come to you?
No, actually, it's a real thing. You know Art and Luisa from Portland?
Yes.
He told me about Mel Tillis. It was a country music. And he was a stutterer, and he used to make fun of himself in between songs, but he never stuttered when he was singing. So that stayed in my mind, and that it blew up in my mind a little bit when I had to come up with the idea. So I said, I'm going to make this tango singer stutterer, and that's it. And again, still, in every movie, you say, "Oh, I could have written something deeper here, or I could have taken more, you know." And well, that's why you need to rewrite, you know. And
And it always can go deeper, of course.
Yeah, always can go deeper. And again,
I felt it was very deep. And also what I picked up on is that this guy is a mechanic. He's
yeah,
he's not like somebody in the suburbs living or professional or something. Like, to me, as an outsider, again, a lot of times what I get is tango is very much of the people, and this, like, that it belongs to the people, that it comes from a place of not like refined culture, but it's really
right,
coming
right, right.
from
Of
the
course,
city.
of course, of course.
Shooting a film like that, it requires a lot of planning and coordination. I'm curious if there were
Of
any
course.
scenes in the film that were particularly challenging or memorable or intense.
No, well, actually, yeah, this is my eighth film, so it's it's different when I'm in the set now. Like when I did Fermin, and Héctor Alterio, the Fermin is talking to his son at the last scene. The whole crew was there, the actors, everybody was there. Were there because they wanted to see this guy perform that scene, and everybody, the whole set, were crying, and was a very emotional moment that day. Here in Tuve el Corazón, it was much lighter because also I did the project took me 18 months since I started shooting, since I started pre-production. And because I had also the challenge to play the main character, and I tell you why later, I had to divide myself in many pieces and things, you understand? So I let go. I trusted all these things, it's like I just focused, and like I do all the time, in the acting part. That's my background, and that's what it's easier for me to deal with any actor. I'm very comfortable with actors, directing them. So what I can tell you, like but the scene that I like most is, first of all, I love the way how the movie opens. Like, I
Yeah.
was having this way the movie opens, with Troilo, when you see, you
Oh,
understand,
my
or the kid,
favorite.
it's like saying, do we have that shot? Yes, that's it. I don't care anything else. Take care. I will do the acting. Like, I don't care. I have that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, the guy who plays Pugliese, that's Hernan, my business partner, the co-director.
Oh.
Yeah. And I said, you're going to be Pugliese. And he said, why? I said, he plays the piano. Because you look like it. Don't worry about it. This is what I do best, I think. It's casting.
I'm glad you're mentioning that opening scene, because as a tango dancer, it was like going from black and white to multicolor, right? Like, just
exactly.
to have the faces
And the music.
and the music.
Danzarin with Troilo. I'm opening with those is also, I mean, this is a tango movie. That's why I was trying to make very clear about personal taste in relation to who represents the genre. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm going to open a tango movie, I'm opening with Troilo. End of discussion. For me, even if maybe it's not my favorite, but I know what it means to me, what it represents. You understand? So I said, I'm opening with Troilo.
And I don't think that as a movie watcher, I've ever seen these people brought to life, So to me, it was so exciting, because I know I've seen pictures of Troilo, I've seen pictures of Pugliese, I've seen him on YouTube, but like, to suddenly see it as like a reality, they're playing. It was very exciting. I almost was like, oh, I just want the whole movie of that. Like, let's just see the characters and like what happens. It was really exciting.
Thank you. Yes.
And so what was it like to act and direct, which you also did in Fermin as well, but this seemed like it was another level of commitment in terms of your role.
It was, first of all, in Fermin, it was my first movie, and I had to take a smart decision. And I said, I'm not going to play the main character, because I could have played the doctor. But that guy who played the doctor is one of the most famous actors in Argentina. He did the best movie ever, which is Nueve Reinas with Ricardo Darín. and he liked the script. We had him. I said, I'm going to play a small character, and that's it. And this one, because with the character I wrote, the age of this guy and chronologically the life that he had and stuff like that, I didn't have the best actors because they were committed to other things, and also so not having those 4, 5, 6 actors that they can approach you to a better possibility of making good sales, it's the same. If it's me or the other 99 that they're available to work and they could play the role. So I said, I'm doing it. And I know the character, and I know I'm going to do well. Actually, I won a very big prize, which I'm very happy about.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And so I said, I'm going to play the main character. And I knew the guy. I knew what I had to play as Moti. Maybe if I have to play another character, I will have to work more. But I was very confident, and also I didn't feel in any moment with my colleagues who are very famous professional actors that I was in a challenge with them. I felt very comfortable, and not because I was the owner of the movie, because you see that it's like it's like trying to pretend that you like dancing with someone. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's like that. And when it works, it works, and there's no explanation for any of those both, And so I relied a lot in Hernan, who was the co-director. And then I just, I had to make that decision, to play, because I knew that I was going to create this character, this kind of loser, and the beard and the hair and the way he dresses, and this kind of floppy guy, but a very loving father. That was also a thing that I wanted to play like that. Hernan, when we were doing the first scene, when he's at the bar with his kid, having a sandwich, talking about the bar mitzvah and stuff like that. That was the first day we shot. And Hernan came to me and he said, Oliver, you look so nice. You're so nice. You should be a little more edgy. And another partner in the movie, who was the assistant director, said, Hernan, wait. Grande Pa, which is a very famous TV show in Argentina. The father was amazing, and it was 15 years on the air. It's good. And I said, Hernan, I want this guy, if he's a loser, whatever, but with his son, it's a great dad. I want this, he's a great dad. I feel comfortable like that, and it's another way to express it,
And it's my catharsis. I got to have it,
catharsis.
it's my catharsis.
Exactly.
Yeah, it seems very alchemical for you to sort of digest your own story through telling a story like this.
Of course. And as I was telling you, casting, it's key. Chino Laborde was the guy is going to play, and I knew. And when we started rehearsing his stutterness, I said, Chino, I don't want you to try to stutter. I want you to stutter the way, can I say a bad word?
Go for it.
The way the fuck you want. I don't care. As long as it's you.
Yeah.
Stutter the way it comes out to you. I'm not going to judge because it's yours. And when I told him that's yours.
That's when he had it.
Of course. Who's going to say, oh, he's not stuttering well. Okay.
You're not stuttering good enough.
Right. Like the audience is going to say it's not stuttering good enough. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting idea that stuttering might be like an art in terms of when you're performing it as a role, and that you might approach it as an actual skill, because the point of the stuttering in the film, I think, as an audience, is to bring this level of discomfort as you're hearing this person start to talk, right? And that edge of like, oh my God, he's not going to get it out, right?
Right.
And then to feel the contrast when he actually sings.
Yes.
So he really achieved that tension of like what it's like not to get the words out and then go to actual singing. So when I watched the film, I got a lot out of it. I think it's so layered, and I'm curious if you have a sense of what is it that you want the audience to get out of it, but particularly since you're going to be showing this to a lot of tango dancers, is there any anything specific that you really want the tango dancers to get from watching this film?
Well, first of all, they have to enjoy it. They have to feel identified that they are watching a tango movie that's trying to show the world that they think about, most of us 24 hours a day. Even if you're at work doing another job, whatever, we're always thinking about tango. I think we wake up thinking which milonga is on tonight. Yeah, it's like we're thinking about that. And also, I just wanted to wake up this curiosity about other aspects that tango might involve, like the relationship with rock and roll and the possibility that Tuve el Corazón, which is the lyrics is a tango that I wrote, and the music was done by Lisandro Adrover, which I worked with many years, which I would love to bring to the States. Lisandro is the guy who did Forever Tango. He created the whole Forever Tango soundtrack and show as a music. He was a musical director. I'm his producer for the last 10 years. And we did 3 albums together, and we're very good friends. And I wrote the lyrics of Tuve el Corazón. Actually, it's a personal story. And I said, I'm going to vomit it in this tango during the pandemic. Yeah, I wrote like 16 tangos. And Lisandro put some music to some of them. And I used this song because originally, this is a little insight of the movie, the lady who's Silvia, who plays the singer that sings at the end with she's a very, very famous singer.
She was killer. I could tell. This woman is someone. I can tell.
It's amazing. She has like 3 million followers on Instagram. She's a big idol. And she comes from the cumbia world. And cumbia in Argentina is it's like our tango nowadays, like in the 40s, that it was from the slums and stuff like that. In Argentina, cumbia, a lot of the popular people, they listen to cumbia. It's not a refined music like could be ballet or whatever, but it's a cultural expression and a big following, which is amazing. It's a big industry. And she sings there, but she can sing anything, actually. And when I approached her many years ago, I said, do you sing tango? And she says, I love tango. And she looked at me, and that kept into my mind. So when I called Hernan, my business partner, I said, I'm going to get Karina to sing Tuve el Corazón. So I'm going to put this character, because at the beginning, the character played by her died there as a character, not like in the story. Like I was just trying to use this character to show the situation in which Moti is living his life today, like he's a loser and stuff like that. So this singer approaches him for a demo, like anybody can be. But then when I said, if Karina can sing this with El Chino Laborde as a producer, I'm thinking about that, I can build the character, and then she sings at the end, Tuve el Corazón, the tango version, because I already wrote it. You have to think like that when you make a movie. I mean, that's the way I work. Yeah. So you put things that have value together. And he said, of course, you won't be able to get her, blah, blah, blah. And when you say that, I will tell you, fuck you. So I called her up, we had a meeting, and she's in. And she loved it, and we worked together very well. And it was a great experience to have her also in the set, trying to say, okay, this tango could be a tango and a rock and roll, and some way I proved it, because it became a hit in the movie as a rock and roll, and then they sing it as a tango. So because it's 2x4, so it can be it's rhythmically. Horacio Godoy will agree with us. I'll say, of course,
yes, yeah.
That doesn't mean that you like the taste of it, but rhythmically, I'm not doing bossa nova and rock and roll.
Right.
Still, they match.
They do. I actually, like in the middle of the movie when you kind of propose this idea, I as a viewer, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way it's going to work. But then when I hear it at the end, I'm like, wait a minute, it actually does work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So it was a funny realization, and I did enjoy her in particular at the end. It does feel very climactic to have both of them on stage, and he's all looking cool with the hair slicked back, and it's really, really cool.
And my favorite scene is the scene with the Abraham, which is the tailor, and him and he's doing the suit and talking about the different orchestras and his the moon and the tide. I love that scene. That's pure tango. It's like for tango dancers that they will understand. Because I truly believe that, like Darien Somaure, it's the night. It's that. And D'Agostino Vargas, the orchestra, it's like that Saturday morning at 10 when everything is quiet and the sun and the birds. That's D'Agostino Vargas for me, you know, that smell. So I just wanted this character to say it, you know, like give tribute to all this tango richness that we try to have, you know, in life.
And it's the kind of tango richness that I think I'm hungry for as a person separate from the culture. Like, that's not something that we'll know ourselves.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to describe D'Agostino that way. But when you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can. Yeah, I feel that. And I think that's
exactly
I guess for me, that's the thing I'm taking away from the film is that extra layer of just really even feeling, oh, it's even deeper than I thought. It spans even more ground, I would say. I love seeing tango actually being shown the way I see it at a milonga or as an insider. And a lot of times when I see films where tango is being shown, it's somehow caricatured or stylized or represented, you know, for other reasons. And for me, what's important about having films like what the films you're making is you're actually showing the milonga. You're actually showing the capaceo, how the capaceo happens, like just the details. As a dancer, if somebody from outside of tango comes to me and asks, like, what is a movie to watch where I can see tango actually the way it is? It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. So it's really nice to have that reference.
Yeah, that's a very important thing you said, because that's my goal.
Yeah,
that's
great. And I think it is important to mention it because for many years, my personal beef with the way tango is being represented is the fact that most people don't really know what it looks like for real. They think it's Dancing with the Stars. They don't realize it's like a whole other world, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful to see it.
But if you think about it, you're in the same situation, and I am as well, on billion of other aspects that you don't know about. And you think it's that. It's like going to say, I want to be able to break those 3 bricks. That's why I'm going to start taekwondo, karate. And you go there and they say, no, wait, man. This is a philosophy. This is a way of life. This is not just breaking bricks, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
The same is the other way with people. No, I'm sure that you had students that come and, listen, I have written here, I want to learn gancho. That's the move I want to. And they don't even know how to walk. And it's like, wait a minute, man. Come on, man. Shut up. Let's start with the sound. Let's start listening to the music and walk. Like, give me 10 hours of walk, man. Whatever. So,
well, speaking of, you have this movie coming up as a screening, and I wanted to actually ask you, what are some of the ways people could learn about this film, support it, view it?
Great. I'm going to be touring in the States. I'm going to be giving workshops as well in Los Angeles, in Portland, in Denver, in Boston, in New York, in Cincinnati, in Montreal, and maybe in Vancouver.
And in all of those places, you'll be screening as you go.
I'm going to be screening. I'm going to be giving workshops. And in LA, I'm going to be in the 11th and the 12th in the Argentina Association. With also
in April.
All of them, we're going to have Q&A and stuff like that, which people I think like. And also it's open to the community, those actors that they want to ask me any question, what is to make a movie. I can promise you, I'm very honest. I will tell you every secret. It's a mess. It's very difficult, but it's doable. Also, I'm going to have the movie like in 25 languages. I'm trying to do that because a lot of people can watch the movie with Italian subtitles or Chinese or Korean subtitles. So I'm trying to reach that market because I can't reach still the platforms yet. Again, it's a very niche movie, tango movie from Argentina. There are 1,000 other movies on the list of the executives in the movie business. So I have to go for the markets directly that I know, which is the tango world, you know?
So ideally, you would want to take the movie abroad even further and go to maybe Europe and other countries.
To the different, and the same market, milongas and the tango communities. Like I'm sure there are like 20 communities in Italy or 20 communities in France or
So if you're listening out there and you want Oliver to come to your community and screen his film, or you want just the movie to come to your community, you can make that happen. So, well, thank you so much, Oliver. This has been such a fun conversation once again, and I look forward to